Brothers and sisters of the range, let me lay it out for you straight. October 18th, mark it down, circle it in red, burn it into your memory, because that's Vortex Day here in Nashville. And this isn't just another calendar day. This is the day when optics fanatics, Glock lovers, and die-hard defenders of the Second Amendment gather under one roof to see something brand new, something game-changing. Picture it. Every Vortex optic you've ever heard of set up in our indoor ranges, free for you to mount, test, abuse, and hammer rounds through until you're grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. Giveaways, demos, brand reps on site. It's going to feel less like a sale and more like a full-blown celebration of American gun culture. But here's the real kicker. Vortex isn't showing up empty-handed. They've got fresh glass, ready to roll out. Not warmed-over designs, not minor tweaks, but fully re-engineered, battlefield-ready optics built to answer the demands of today's shooters. And we're not waiting until October to spill the beans. You're going to get a sneak peek right here, right now. For years, Vortex has held its ground in the optics world. They've made rugged glass for hunters. They've built duty-grade scopes for tactical shooters. And they've earned loyalty from everyday concealed carriers who want something reliable between their sights and their target. But the last few years have proven one thing beyond a shadow of doubt. Optics are no longer optional. The market has spoken. From coast to coast, Americans are sending their slides to get milled, running red dots, and demanding speed and accuracy that iron sights simply can't compete with anymore. 10-day turnaround, coast to coast. That's how fast the demand is moving. Now here's where it gets exciting. Vortex has unveiled two heavy hitters, the Defender ST and the Defender CCW. Both enclosed emitter red dots. Both powered not only by batteries, but backed up by a solar panel that refuses to let you down when the juice runs dry. These aren't toys. These are tools built for real-world defense, where dust, sweat, and rain will try to rob you of your reticle at the worst possible moment. Open emitters have their place, sure, but debris, mud, or even a single raindrop can scatter that laser beam into a useless smear. Enclosed designs solve that problem. They lock that emitter in a glass box where it belongs, protecting your aiming point when the world around you turns hostile. Think about that for a second. You're not standing in some sterile lab. You're on a gas station lot at midnight, in the rain, facing a thug who picked the wrong wallet to try and snatch. In that moment, you don't get a do-over. Your optic either comes alive instantly, crisp and clear, or it betrays you. That's why enclosed red dots are exploding in popularity for concealed carry. It's survival, not style. Now let's size them up. The CCW model is the smaller of the two, tailor-made for slimline pistols like the Glock 43X. It's light, compact, and designed to disappear on your carry rig until you need it. But don't think small means weak. That little optic carries the same DNA as its bigger brother. On the other end sits the Defender ST, meant for full-size duty pistols like the Glock 19. Same reticle choices, same solar panel, same side-loading battery tray so you don't have to unmount a thing, just bigger glass and a footprint that screams tactical. And here's where shooters are divided. The reticle. Vortex gives you options, circle dot or circle dot combo. Me, I lean circle dot every time. Why? Because in a gunfight, speed is life. That circle acts like a catcher's mitt for your vision, dragging your eye to the target even under stress. Close up, high-tempo shooting, the circle dominates. Your eyes snap to it faster than a single pinpoint dot. It's not theory, it's experience. Fast strings, rapid transitions, self-defense scenarios where hesitation gets you hurt, that circle dot shines. So when I tell you these optics are more than pretty cool, I mean it. They're built for shooters who live in the real world, who understand that gear isn't about looking tactical, it's about surviving what none of us hope to face. And believe me, installation matters. Footprints, screws, adapter plates mess one detail up and you've turned your life-saving tool into a paperweight. So let's roll up our sleeves. Because the way these optics mount tells you everything about how serious Vortex is about making them battle-worthy. And what happens next might surprise you. All right, let's get mechanical. If you've ever tried to shoehorn an optic onto a slide without understanding the little details, you know exactly how fast simple upgrade can turn into expensive mistake. Mounting matters more than brand loyalty. A dot that wiggles, a screw that bottoms out, or a plate that sits proud turns the whole system into a liability when you need it most. So listen up. I'll walk you through the parts that make or break a reliable mount, the traps shooters fall into, and the pro fixes we use at the range when things go sideways. First, the MOS footprint. On compact pistols, Glock moved to a new pattern on the 43X. It's not just cosmetic. Engineers replaced old bosses with screw posts, little posts that give the optic a locked-in fit. That means when you drop a Defender CCW into that cut, it seats like it's married to the slide. Tight fit equals repeatable zero. You want that. But don't assume all slides are identical. Manufacturers make line changes without fanfare. The bronze or coyote models might ship with one pattern. The black ones may still be the old setup, so always check before you tighten anything. Now, the screw gang. This is where folks call in panicked after their pistol starts behaving odd. Along the inside of the slide on many compact Glocks runs the extractor depressor plunger rod, a silver rod that lives in a channel. If your mounting screw is too long, it will intersect that rod. Result failure to extract, you'll see stovepipes or failures to eject. The fix is blunt but exact. Use the correct length screw for that hole. Vortex includes an arsenal of screws in the box for this very reason. Use the shorter screw where that rod lives. If you're unsure, compare lengths on the bench before you drive anything home. Co-witness a dirty word for some, a necessity for others. When you mount a low-profile optic direct to slide, you may lose a clean co-witness with factory sights. With the Defender CCW, expect a minimal sight picture overlap on the 43X unless you run suppressor height irons. If you want an aggressive co-witness, buy taller sights and set them up first. For folks running duty rigs on full-size guns, the Defender ST uses an included adapter plate for the MOS footprint, think Delta Point Pro pattern, and that plate lifts the optic to a secure seating point. Vortex bundles the plate so you don't have to bodge one together out of spare parts. That's thoughtful engineering. Thread locker, don't skip it. Screws vibrate out over time. Blue Loctite is the industry sweet spot. Locks the fastener during recoil and allows you to remove it without chiseling the slide apart. Apply a drop, torque the screws to the manufacturer's spec, and let it cure. That one habit prevents 1,000 range headaches. Battery access and tooling matter in the real world. Side-loading trays that let you change the battery without removing the optic are a massive quality of life win. Vortex's toolkit in the box, heavy-duty steel driver, and a battery tray opener is not a gimmick. Use it. Don't scratch the finish with a worn screwdriver and then complain about corrosion 5 years down the line. Finally, field test the whole system before you trust it. Run rapid strings, reload transitions, multiple draw angles, zero the dot, tighten, re-zero. If anything shifts, recheck screw lengths, reapply Blue Loctite, and test again. Gear that survives 100 draws and 1,000 rounds without walking is gear you can bet your life on. So you've got the footprint matched, the right screws in place, the plate installed, and the Loctite curing on the bench. You think you're done. But there's one more secret. The guys who win fights always account for something. Vortex baked into these designs that shifts the balance when everything goes south. What it is and why it could change your entire setup strategy, I'll show you next. You remember that little edge I promised? Here it is, laid bare. Redundancy built into an optic is not a luxury, it's a survival margin. Vortex didn't just slap a solar cell on these Defender models for marketing shots. They engineered a layered power system so that if your primary battery goes soft, the panel pulls duty long enough for you to finish the fight or get home. In real terms, that means one less variable to scramble over when stress ramps up, and every fraction of a second counts. Solar backup buys you tolerance. Tolerance saves lives. Let's talk ergonomics under stress. The side-loading battery tray is a deceptively minor triumph. Picture swapping a battery in a hurry with your holster rig still intact because the optic doesn't need to come off. That's a 2-second procedure everyone can train. 2 seconds between a dead dot and a viable reticle is 2 seconds fewer for confusion to creep in. Tools included in the box mean you don't have to improvise with a butter knife and a prayer. That sounds small, until you're on a hot range day swapping batteries in a metal lunchbox full of gear, and then it's the difference between efficient maintenance and scratched optics or stripped screws. Now, the reticle strategy, circle dot, is not a gimmick. The ring does the heavy lifting of acquisition, while the dot gives you a precise impact point for center mass or finer shots. For close quarters defensive work, your brain will latch onto that ring before it resolves microdots under adrenaline. Train with that geometry and your transition times fall off dramatically. Don't just pick the reticle because it looks cool. Pick it because it produces measurable speed and hits under pressure. Durability. Enclosed emitter means the laser is boxed against dust, water, and the grit that kills open-style systems in the field. That's non-negotiable if you carry daily. Think about sweat, salt, pocket lint, rain on a roadside. All of those are tiny. Attackers aimed at your sight picture. Enclosed design pushes that threat back out of the equation. It's an evolution from looks good to trustworthy under abrasion. But trust isn't handed to you. It's earned on the range. Don't be the guy who mounts zeros and pockets the pistol. You owe yourself a protocol. Tighten screws with thread locker applied, torque to spec, and then run a full stress test. Draw, present, shoot, reload, and repeat until the optic holds point through dozens of reps. Then run 100 rounds. Then put it through rapid transitions. If anything walks, you diagnose the screw length, torque, or plate seating. Vortex's kit gives you the parts to fix the common problems right there: shorter screws for extractor rod interference, adapter plates for MOS mismatches, and a robust fastener set so you never have to jury rig. Here's the human part. Gear amplifies skill, but cannot substitute for training. These defenders are tools that reduce equipment-caused failures and that changes how you practice. Train with the circle dot, practice battery swaps blind, and set your co-witness plan ahead of time. Decide whether you want an iron co-witness or a low direct mount, and configure your suppressor height sights before you trust the setup in anything more than a controlled environment. Finally, the invitation. Gear is meant to be handled, not idolized. Come to Vortex Day in Nashville and put these systems through their paces yourself. Try the power redundancy, feel the side load tray, tune the reticle under a match condition drill. The data you collect on the clock will tell you if the Defender line earns a permanent place in your kit. This is the place where design meets practice, where an optic stops being a shiny upgrade and starts being a dependable partner. Decide how you want your gear to fail, quietly, predictably, or not at all. Choose wisely.